All right, I want to share a really cool video that I watched the other day. I thought it was super interesting. So what it was a jar, and it was a completely empty jar. And what the person doing the experiment did was he had a shit ton of fleas. And so what he did with the fleas, and they were hopping up and down, they were going crazy. He dumped them into the jar, the empty jar, and some of them jumped out. You know, they were going wild. But then he put the lid on. And then after a couple of days, you know, as the lid sat there, you'd see, you know, it was a clear lid. You'd see all these fleas going up and down, up and down. You know, they couldn't hop out because there was a lid. But after a couple of days, he removed the jar, and wouldn't you know it, the fleas would cease to jump out. They would just stay, and they would jump as high as where the lid was. They were conditioned at this point to only jump as high as where the lid was. They could jump out if they wanted to, but at this point, they've already been hardwired. They've already been conditioned to settle for what they thought their limit was. And that reminded me kind of what human beings do. You know, we set these mental blocks or obstacles, and it allows us to get away. Even though they may not even exist, it prevents us from being able to grow or to escape from that jar. And even more interesting with that study, they actually followed the fleas kids, the little baby fleas, same exact thing. The fleas would only jump as high as their parents. So like these precedents and these things that we impose on ourselves, we got to be careful because we can pass this down to our generations as well. So don't be like those fleas. Don't invent invisible barriers, exceed them, and then make sure your kids don't do the same.